Do you know what it means to be an advocate for you as a real estate agent? And I'm not talking just about in a client relationship where you're buying or selling real estate. I'm talking about political advocacy, whether it's at the state legislature or in front of Congress, where I happen to be in Washington, D.C. this week. You know, we have almost 1.5 million realtors in the United States, and about 10 to 12,000 of us are here in Washington this week for our legislative meetings. And y'all, we're having some really good, productive conversations and having some successes. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about what's happened this week. Welcome back. I'm Steve Reese, a realtor in the Oklahoma City area, specifically the suburb of Shawnee, just east of Tinker Air Force Base. I operate the soldonshawnee.com real estate and community blog, and on this channel, I tell you everything you need to know about relocating to the Oklahoma City area. And this week, I happen to be in Washington, D.C. First, let me apologize. Whatever's happening to my eyes this week, I don't know. I've been up a little late, lots of events in the evenings, and then coming back to my room, which is the Moxie Hotel. Moxie is a Marriott property, super cool, but probably a little too cool for me. And after getting back in the evenings, I've been doing work and being up too late. Also, I'm an hour later here than I am in Oklahoma. So it's been a bit of a challenge and my eyes appear to be paying for it. You might know that the National Association of Realtors is a very powerful lobby in Washington, D.C. And you may have heard about a new rule going into place that seemed to be penalizing some middle-income borrowers with high credit scores. Well, this has been quite a topic of conversation, and through our work here in Washington, D.C., primarily staff, we have an amazing government affairs staff at the National Association of Realtors. Well, that was going to be put off for several months, and then we learned just yesterday, May 10th, that anyway, they've canceled that altogether. So the news release that the National Association of Realtors put out reads a quote from our president, Kenny Parcell from Utah. "We are pleased that the advocacy efforts on behalf of our 1.5 million members and their clients were successful. We applaud the FHFA for listening to the industry's concerns by choosing to drop this fee on borrowers with higher debt-to-income ratios. It would have imposed a cost on borrowers at a time in the market when affordability is already stretched and only made them riskier." Y'all, and I said this earlier, we've got 1.5 million members and about 10 to 12,000 of them travel to Washington, D.C. to have these important conversations with our legislators and regulators. That work cannot be overemphasized. The importance of it is crucial to protecting your rights to own private property and to use it as you please within reason, and to lower those barriers to home ownership. That's just the cornerstone of our economy. One of the things on our priority list is to increase the capital gains exemption. This is something that's been in place at the current level, $250,000 exemption for a single filer or $500,000 for a married couple. This is something that's been in place for about 25 years, and we're proposing that it increase and then be adjusted based on the rate of inflation. Y'all, this is something that may inhibit somebody from downsizing as they get older. And if they are going to have to pay significant taxes, they're probably going to stay in a house that's too large and too difficult to maintain in order to survive. And so that's an exemption that needs to keep up with inflation and property values. We've had an extreme rise in property values, especially over the past few years. So this is another item on our priority list that is important for us to discuss with Congress. So you may deduce from this that if there are fewer people downsizing and selling their homes, that further decreases the inventory of properties that are available for new home buyers. Currently, I serve on the Federal Financing and Housing Policy Committee. Our main objective is to monitor regulations and policies dealing with FHA, VA, and USDA loans, which I bring back that information to our local market because it's our bread and butter in Shawnee specifically. One of the things we heard from was actually a representative from a Mortgage Broker Association, and it deals with disabled veterans. So you may know that a disabled veteran will receive some sort of tax exemption on their property taxes, up to 100% depending on their degree of disability. So when a disabled veteran purchases a house, sorry, I'm sitting here in front of a window and I get distracted by birds. When a disabled veteran purchases a home, what's factored into their payment and their ability to qualify for a loan is property taxes. Well, if they're being exempt from property taxes, then they shouldn't have to factor that into their payment and have that decrease their buying power. And so in several states already, it's been passed that that obligation be taken away and that credit be given at the time of contract, not at the time of closing. So instead of receiving a rebate or a refund of their property taxes that they prepaid at closing, a couple weeks after closing, they would never even have to pay that up front and then be credited back later. So it simplifies that and it increases their buying power. Something that we are fully in support of and encourage the National Association of Realtors to support is how vouchers are used that are maintained and distributed through our local housing authorities. Pretty much most of them are only using those for rental assistance, but those vouchers are available to be used toward the purchase of a home. And as you know, that there's a wide gap in generational wealth between renters and homeowners. And so we want to start working with our local housing authorities to make that available so that they know that it's available for future home buyers. We're wanting to support policies and regulations and programs that enhance assumable mortgage products for home buyers, particularly those in the FHA, VA, and USDA market. The ability to assume a mortgage is certainly very attractive right now because historically interest rates have been much lower than they are even right now, even though they're still pretty good. Also, we're looking at VA-insured loans that the policies can be created that won't impact a veteran's ability to use their entitlement. I fly out this afternoon, and before I go to the airport, I'm going to take out these contact lenses, give my eyes a rest, and be fresh and ready to hit it tomorrow. I've got a home inspection to attend for a buyer client who's just precious, and just hit the ground running again. So until then, I will see you in the next video.